You know what's funny about Social Security? People talk about it for years before it starts. They plan, they worry, they argue about when to claim. But once it actually begins, once that first deposit quietly lands in your account, nobody really talks about what happens after that. Because the truth is, nothing dramatic happens, no trumpet sounds, no curtain lifts. Life just keeps moving. You still wake up a little stiff, you still glance at the weather, you still wonder what's for dinner. And somewhere between that first cup of coffee and the afternoon news, a strange thought slips in. Is this how it's supposed to feel? For some folks, there's relief, a real physical exhale. For others, there's something harder to name, a low hum of caution, almost like your body knows you crossed into a new phase, even if your calendar doesn't say so. I've noticed that once Social Security starts, people don't suddenly become careless with money. If anything, they tighten up, they get quieter about spending, more hesitant, they double-check things they never used to double-check, and on the surface, that looks responsible, smart even. But here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes the very thing that feels like wisdom after Social Security starts is the thing that slowly steals comfort, confidence, and peace. My name is Robert, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time thinking about money, aging, and why retirement settles so gently for some people while others feel like they're constantly bracing for impact. And over the years, listening to people talk, really talk, I've realized that the biggest retirement mistakes rarely look like mistakes. They look like habits, old instincts, reflexes built during working years when every paycheck mattered and every misstep felt dangerous. Today I want to talk about one of those instincts, one very specific thing many people keep doing after Social Security starts without realizing it no longer serves them. It doesn't ruin lives, it doesn't blow up finances, it just quietly makes retirement feel tighter, smaller, and more stressful than it needs to be. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I should probably be more careful now, or I don't want to mess this up, then this conversation is for you. Not to scare you, not to lecture you, just to help you see this stage of life and your money through a calmer, clearer lens. So let's start here, because the thing I'm talking about doesn't arrive with a warning label. Nobody sends you a letter saying, hey, careful, this mindset is about to follow you into retirement. It sneaks in quietly. The habit is this: continuing to treat every dollar like you're still one missed paycheck away from trouble. Now, before you bristle a little, and I get it, I really do, this isn't about being reckless. It's not about spending wildly or pretending money doesn't matter anymore. It's about holding on to survival mode, thinking long after survival is no longer the goal. A woman I spoke with once, let's call her Linda, put it perfectly without even realizing it. She said, I finally feel grateful for Social Security, but I also feel like I'm constantly guarding it, like it could disappear if I don't watch it closely. That guarding instinct, it made sense for decades, but after Social Security starts, it can quietly become the thing that limits you the most. Why this mindset comes from a good place. Let's be fair to ourselves for a minute. Most people watching this grew up with financial whiplash, inflation in the 70s, layoffs, pensions that vanished, market crashes that took years to recover from. You learned, wisely, that money could disappear faster than anyone promised it wouldn't. So when Social Security begins, the instinct is to lock down, spend less than you need, avoid any decision that feels uncertain, delayed joy, delayed comfort, delay everything. Honestly, that instinct kept you alive in your working years. But retirement is not about survival, it's about sustainability. And those are two very different ways of thinking. Section 1: Stop hoarding cash out of fear. Let's talk about the most common version of this habit, hoarding cash because it feels safe. I can't tell you how many retirees tell me, I just want it in the bank where I can see it. And look, seeing a healthy checking or savings balance feels comforting, like a warm blanket. But here's the quiet problem. Inflation doesn't care about your comfort. If you're sitting on large amounts of cash earning next to nothing, your money is shrinking in real terms every single year, slowly, politely, without making a fuss. It's like leaving a block of ice on the counter. You don't notice it melting at first, but come back later and, well, this matters more after Social Security starts because your income becomes more fixed. That means purchasing power matters more than ever. Actionable advice: you don't need to become an investor overnight, but it is worth asking, how much cash do I actually need for peace of mind, and how much is just fear disguised as caution? Even shifting a portion into something modestly inflation-aware can protect future you without adding stress. Section 2. Stop saying, "I'll wait one more year," forever. This one hits close to home for a lot of people. You finally have time, you finally have Social Security helping cover the basics, and yet you keep waiting. One more year before that trip, one more year before the home improvement, one more year before you help the grandkids, one more year before you enjoy the money. Why? Because deep down you're still treating retirement like it's temporary, like the rug might be pulled out. I once heard a man say, half joking, "I don't want to start enjoying it in case it stops." That sentence stuck with me. Social Security is designed to be a steady part of your financial life. It's not perfect, but it's reliable. When you refuse to use that reliability, you end up living smaller than necessary. Actionable advice here is emotional, not technical. Pick one thing you've been postponing for no good reason. Not extravagant, just meaningful, and stop waiting. Section 3. Stop ignoring how spending changes with age. Here's a weird truth. Retirement spending doesn't usually go up forever. It changes shape. Early retirement often costs more: travel, hobbies, projects. Later retirement often costs less in some areas, more in others, especially healthcare. But people who stay stuck in survival mode never adjust. They budget as if every year will be the most expensive year of their life. That leads to unnecessary anxiety and underspending during the years when energy and health are strongest. Social Security gives you a baseline, a floor. When you understand that floor, you can plan spending that evolves instead of freezes. Actionable advice: look at your expenses in phases, not averages. It's freeing to realize not every year needs the same level of caution. Section 4. Stop treating Social Security like it's untouchable. This one surprises people. Social Security isn't a museum piece. It's income. It's meant to be used. I've met retirees who mentally label their Social Security as emergency only, while living off savings and stressing constantly. That flips the system upside down. Social Security is steady, savings are flexible. When you reverse their roles, you increase stress instead of reducing it. Why this matters for seniors: predictability equals calm. Use predictable money for predictable expenses. Actionable advice: assign Social Security a job, rent, groceries, utilities. Let it work for you instead of sitting on a pedestal. Section 5. Stop making decisions based on headlines. Turn on the news for 5 minutes and you'll hear about markets crashing, Social Security running out, inflation, political drama. If you let headlines drive your financial behavior after Social Security starts, you'll stay in a constant state of alarm. An alarm is exhausting. Most of these headlines are noise. They're designed to provoke, not guide. The people who age most peacefully financially, they zoom out, they look at trends, not panic spikes. Actionable advice: limit how often you check financial news. Seriously, replace that habit with reviewing your actual numbers quarterly. Reality beats rhetoric every time. Section 6. Stop thinking you have to do this alone. This one's personal for me. There's a pride many retirees carry. I've handled my money my whole life. I'll keep doing it myself. That independence is admirable, but isolation is not the same thing. Social Security introduces new layers: taxation, Medicare interactions, survivor benefits. You don't get bonus points for navigating it blind. Actionable advice doesn't mean hiring an expensive advisor. It might just mean one trusted second set of eyes. Someone to say, yes, this makes sense, or hey, have you considered this? Peace of mind is worth that conversation. Section 7. Stop defining success as not touching principle. This belief runs deep. I'll be successful if I never dip into my savings. But what if savings are there to be used? What if success is alignment, not preservation? Social Security was never meant to replace everything. It was meant to support a system where your money works with you, not against you. If you die with untouched savings but spent decades anxious and restricted, was that really a success? Actionable advice: redefine the win. Use your money intentionally, not fearfully. Section 8. Stop forgetting the non-financial side of retirement. Here's the quietest danger of all. You can do everything right on paper and still feel unsettled. Because money after Social Security isn't just math, it's identity, it's control, it's purpose. When people stay stuck in survival mode, they miss the deeper shift. Retirement is about living well, not just lasting long. Actionable advice: speed. ND time designing days, not just budgets. Money should support a life that feels full, not just safe. So if there's one thing I hope lingers after this conversation, it's this: you're allowed to change how you think about money now. Social Security isn't a finish line, and it's not a fragile thing you have to tiptoe around. It's a foundation, a steady rhythm underneath your days. And when you stop treating every dollar like it might vanish tomorrow, something else opens up: clarity, calm, even a little joy. The habits that kept you afloat for decades deserve respect, truly, but they don't get to run the rest of your life on autopilot. You can be careful and comfortable, thoughtful and generous with yourself most of all. You can plan for the future without putting the present on hold indefinitely. I've seen people loosen this grip just a little, and the change is remarkable. Shoulders drop, decisions get simpler. Money stops being the main character and goes back to being what it was always supposed to be: a supporting role. If you're already receiving Social Security, or you're close, take a quiet moment after this. Ask yourself, what am I still doing out of fear that I don't actually need anymore? You don't have to overhaul your life. Just stop doing the one thing that keeps you stuck in survival mode. Sometimes that's all it takes for retirement to finally feel like retirement. Thanks for watching.